Welcome everybody back here at Veil of Sound. We have our regular Sunday interview, and I'm very, very sure that a lot of you people out there have heard the voice of this guy over here, because I'm very, very happy to talk to Raygun Busch from Chatpile, who just recently released their new record, Cool World, and I'm very happy. So Raygun, thanks for joining.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, as do we, even more. First question, always on the Veil of Sound: is there any kind of band shirt, merch from your band or another band that you just like that you want to plug? I'll give you a moment to think about it, and while you do that, I'll show my band shirt of the day. My friend ALN and Mismore. Always a heart in my Black Doom heart. Always a place in my Black Doom heart.
One comes to mind for us. We've got a shirt that this artist Mute Neighbor made, and we told him to do it, make it look like a Stephen King hardcover, like from the '80s, like a good one, you know, from the '80s. So he does. It's like this guy, and his head's on fire, and it says "Chat Pile" and like a really Stephen King type font. It's like a long sleeve. That's my favorite piece of merch that we have. For sure.
That sounds very cool. I'll try to find the link. And for everybody, if I find the link, just look beneath this little video here and you can go and directly purchase it from the band or their distributors. So Raygun, I know I'm catching you in Oklahoma. Are you at home or are you somewhere else? Where exactly, so to speak?
Yeah, I'm at home right now in northern Oklahoma City.
Okay. One thing that always comes to my mind when I listen to your songs and your records is the question whether for you the glass is always half full or half empty.
Well, I'd like to say it's always half full. I mean, you know, I get my brain gets the better of me sometimes, and I'm prone to spiraling negatively, you know, but I think it is important, especially the more horrible the world gets, it's important to try to be optimistic, you know?
Yeah.
And try to, so I guess I'll say glass half full. I try to make the glass half full. Let's put it that way.
That sounds like a very rational approach to it, because you say like you try to, that also implies that, first of all, you don't always succeed. And it sounds like a necessity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that then also comply to a certain degree with, I don't want to call it misanthropy, but like a somewhat pessimistic look at the world right now?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, we definitely have some of the songs on the new record, well, all of the songs in the new record, but are kind of like about horrible things that are happening right now, you know, but I personally, as the author of the lyrics, I hope that my humanism comes through on those. I am not a nihilist personally, you know, but it's more an attempt to explore these themes, you know, and just understand things. I guess
it's very interesting that so early in the record, in the interview, we get to such difficult questions. You said like, you're definitely not a nihilist. And I hope you agree with me that somebody who is a misanthropist or a nihilist would not come up with such really difficult topics, because they wouldn't give a shit, right? You know, either they hate the world, they don't accept living. But for you, I always have a feeling as if, first of all, you like and love life. You just would wish it to be a little different. Is that like maybe the correct way of putting it?
I mean, yeah, that's another one where it's like I try to love life. I don't always love life. I deal with depression like anybody else does, you know. But yeah, I mean, I hope that what comes through in the music is that like I care, you know. A lot of times I'm trying to find a rationale for why people do bad things by stepping into the shoes in their voice and stuff like that. Like Dallas Beltway, for instance, is about a man who's murdered his child. and it's from first person perspective. And, you know, I mean, it's like a horrible, unforgivable crime, but it's interesting to try to put yourself in that headspace and be like, well, listen, can you find any sympathy for me here? You know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but I think that's just the point. Like love life, try to accept it, find sympathy for other people, but at the same time, also don't overlook their mistakes.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and raise your voice when you see things you don't like. You know, for sure.
Mhm. Is that also one of the driving forces behind the band for you to like pinpoint, like, okay, there's something wrong going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for this band, with the names and everything. I mean, we like a lot of metal bands and stuff, but I personally love Dead Kennedys, MDC, Perubu is one of my favorite bands. So I kind of try to be political and artistic at the same time, I guess, you know. But
I know what you mean. It's very interesting that you mentioned some of the early punk classics, where the line between metal and punk was not, or between punk and hardcore was not as clearly as it is now. Is that also stuff that you still listen to a lot nowadays?
yeah, yeah. I mean, probably the one I go back to the most is MDC. I just love, I love the album Millions of Damn Christians is such an awesome, or This Blood's for You. I think is what the record is actually called, but that album is
I think so too.
amazing. And I do love Dead Kennedys. Actually, what I've been listening to more in the recent years is that Jello Biafra and DOA album, which is so awesome. And then the Jello Biafra and No Means No album is also
that's
super good. Yeah, but I love pretty much everything Dead Kennedys related, honestly, and I do still listen to that music. East Bay Ray is like my favorite guitar player ever, probably. So it's just it's good stuff.
I don't want to draw comparisons between Jello and you, but there is a certain kind of, there is like, I always have a feeling as if there's like a dark underlying sarcasm to some of the lyrics that you come up with, also like Jello.
Sure. I think he's way more intelligent than I am. I just want to say, Joe Biafra has way more going on upstairs than I do, but I'm trying my best, you know.
Don't undersell yourself, but I know what you mean. I can see that. Yeah. When comparing your your two full lengths, and I would like to leave out the awesome soundtrack that you did, but for the following question, the two full lengths are more important. The first one was God's Country, like the breakthrough record, and amazing, wonderful, enjoyable on stage as I did at Roadburn, like really, really cool record. And now you have a record which is Cool World. Is that also like a shift from a USA-centric point of view to a more global point of view?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we've been joking about the third album will be in space, you know, because
but then you come too close to Blood Incantation.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, absolutely. The first album was focusing kind of on the plains. I mean, it's America, but like a certain part of America that I live in, you know. And this one, yeah, we wanted to talk about more what I did, I guess. More about like what's happening internationally and stuff like that, and how it affects us at home, and how what we do affects people in different countries and stuff, which is, you know, I feel like my eyes get wider, more open every day, you know, things you learn about what our government has, my government has hands in stuff. So anyway.
Do you think that your touring experience over the last 2 years has also played into that shift of like focus?
Perhaps. I mean, I've definitely got like when we went to Tilburg and Amsterdam and stuff, I'd never been there before. So that was very cool. I'd been to England before, but now I've been there 3 times. And so, yeah, for sure. It's definitely, I feel very privileged and blessed and lucky to be able to go to all these places. There's been a lot of cities in America that I'd never been to too, until we started touring. So yeah, I think that probably plays into it for sure. I haven't, it's more of a subconscious thing. It's not something that I've really thought about.
Yeah.
But now that you're saying it, I'm thinking about it. It's like, yeah, probably, you know.
And you've mentioned that, you know, that God's country is maybe not even about the states as a whole, but about the place where you live. And, you know, have you ever thought about moving? Because, I mean, there are places that are a little bit more liberal. We have to agree on that within the states. So has that moving somewhere else ever crossed your mind?
I mean, yeah, everybody who lives here in their 20s dreams about and talks about how they're going to move to Chicago, New York City, Denver, Austin, Seattle. There's like, I mean, yeah, but one, money is a factor. The cost of living, at least until very recently, was way better here than anywhere else in the country almost. But now we're catching up with everybody, and it's getting impossible to live, of course, like everywhere else. But I mean, it does suck. I hate our local government. I mean, you know, but at the same time,
is it blue or red?
It's red as hell. Yeah, we have one of the worst governors here. He worships Trump, and he's just a fucking idiot, you know. But anyway, I don't know. I feel like I would love. Okay, for instance, I would love to live in New York City, but like, I don't know if I could like hack it. Honestly, I think I'm just an Okie. This is where I live. The energy and the vibe of the people and like how it is here. This is where I'm from. This is where I live. And if I leave, that's one less person like me living here. You know, that's how I feel. But meanwhile, I could stay here and like these younger people know me and stuff. And, you know, I don't know, just set a good example, I guess is what I'm saying, you know, by being here. And, you know, we do our best to help instead of damage like the powers that be do here, you know. So, but I don't know. So I like Oklahoma City personally. I'm turning 40 in a few days, so like I'm just gonna die here probably, you know. But
it's very interesting that without noticing it, you again answered one of my initial questions. You like love, you like to support, you like to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Yeah, and I also think there is something true about what you said. I think a band like Chatpile, I don't want to say it's more authentic, but I think the environment that you're in influences you so much that you can still incorporate that anger and that, you know, like we have to change something. Whereas maybe if you live in a more liberal place where things are more to your liking, maybe a little bit of that grit, of that oomph would be lacking. Nevertheless,
perhaps.
We have to. You go on.
No, I was just going to say perhaps, but I think the thing is, we have these liberal cities and stuff. There's still horrible things happening in everywhere. Yeah. Like, because, you know, I mean, there's like bad people everywhere and good people too, for that matter. So the internet has kind of equalized everything. Like things are less desirable since everything has been connected on the internet and stuff, you know, because what would I want to move to a big city for? Record stores, whatever. I mean, we have good food here. Food would be the main thing I'd be moving for, honestly. So, but anyway,
and of course, I have to ask which kind of food is like your favorite dish at the moment?
We have this Pakistani place down the road. That's amazing. I mean, it's like a lot like Indian food, but I mean, you know, I don't know what the nuanced difference is, but it's this place called Shish Mahal. I love the aloo gobi and the spicy rice. That's my number one right now, for sure.
Okay. Nevertheless, I mean, like we have to. You've already hinted at it. We have to talk a little bit about the state of the U.S. I still remember, like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, nobody would have thought that we're at the place where we are right now. For transparency's sake, for everybody, when we are recording this, it's September 9th. Would you have thought 2 months ago that the race for the White House would be open again before Biden declared his step back?
I mean, fucking who knows what's going on? All bets are off now in U.S. politics. This isn't my dad's country, for instance. You know, like when I was a kid, and my dad is talking about politics. He's so invested in like what's going on and stuff. This is like a different game now. All bets are off. I mean, it's a circus in every sense of the word. It's insane that we had Biden in office at all, you know, but let alone he's clearly got holes in his fucking brain. He's not fit for office and stuff. And it was such a trial to get him to step down. And then it's a total monkey's paw situation getting Harris in. Not somebody I want at all. You know, I didn't want Biden to begin with. So I don't know. I have great issue with what's happening politically in this country right now, for sure. And I'm getting to the point where I'm just like, well, I'm just not going to fucking vote because I don't want to vote for either of these fucking people, you know? I could vote for Jill Stein, but actually I don't think I can in Oklahoma. So, you know, and I don't know. That'd be a worthless, I don't know. So anyway.
But it's for you probably, like for many people as well, it's not a choice between good and bad. It's a choice between the lesser of two evils, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a choice. Yes. And it is, despite what they tell you, becoming less clear about who is less evil, honestly. I mean, Trump is clearly an evil person, but I don't believe Harris is good in any way at all. And I get more mad about being lied to. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't feel like Trump is just like, I'm evil, you know? And Harris is like, I'm not evil, but I'm going to do everything that Trump, like Harris is still, we're building a fucking wall between us and Mexico. The most pointless fucking thing ever. And that like everyone blames Trump for that. Biden carried on with the plan. Harris is
with a lot of the foreign policies. Yes, that's true. It's interesting to have that kind of very open point of view, because I think that a lot of people at the moment are like very much pro Harris, which I can totally understand. For a European point of view, she is the choice to make. I have to admit that. But if I try to adopt an American point of view where I have like this, and I think that's the root of the evil, this two-party system, I think then it's like really, okay, it's a choice between who is less evil, or maybe who do I trust that tiny little bit more to keep one of the million promises?
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust either of them, to be honest with you. So
and that trust thing, that is also something that you phrased in one of the singles in Mask. I hope I understood it correctly, but I think I understood it correctly when I heard like trust and re-die, or is it trust and redial?
Trust and bleed.
Even worse.
It's I trust and bleed. Yeah.
But is that then maybe at this point where we're at, not only America-wise, but globally, is this more or less all we can do?
No, that song is about that's more about that song is like the least political song on the record. No, I will not trust these people. I may bleed, they may hurt me, they may kill me.
Yeah.
But I will always say fuck you to these fucking monsters, these ghouls. So personally, that's just how I feel.
But you're totally fine. It's interesting to hear this from a point of view which is not East Coast or West Coast. I really have to say that I like that a lot. For many people, when they are listening to Chat Pile, you as the vocalist are one of the main pull factors, because people can identify with what you sing and identify with the way you sing it. We'll come to the way in a moment. But how do you feel about being in this position? Are you happy about it, or is there too much pressure?
I mean, there's moments where I'm like, oh no, I don't want attention at all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I can go on stage and pretty much just leave my body and dissociate completely. And it's like, it's not a big deal for me, honestly. And I like to perform. I like to get up there. Everyone in chat pile is like a really good friend of mine, you know, so it's fun to just get up there and move and groove to the songs we made. We all dance around. We don't just stand there, you know, so it's, I don't know. It's fun. The amount, having the attention all focused on me, it's just how it is, you know. I mean, I try all the time to divert to spread the attention out, because I think everybody in the band is doing the best that they can. Like everybody in the band is doing something indispensable to what we do, you know, and is doing something great, you know. Like I feel like we are one of those bands. I mean, I know we're not as good as these bands necessarily, but there's certain bands like Dead Kennedys we mentioned before where every member is as important as the next, you know. And like I don't feel like I'm more important than the other members and stuff, but it's just the nature of the deal, having the singer get singled out and stuff, you know. But I guess I don't mind, you know. It's fun. It's fine.
Would you have imagined being at this position, not only yourself, but your band? Would you have imagined being in this position 5-6 years ago? Or are you still struggling with getting a hold of it all?
Definitely still like, man, it's crazy. Like it still kind of hits me. I mean, thank God I'm older. And so I'm not taking any of this for granted, you know. I don't have any illusions in my mind that I deserve this or something, you know, necessarily, or that like that it would have come to me no matter what, you know what I mean? Like we worked hard, we broke through somehow. I don't know how we did it, but it's crazy and I love it. I've been playing music since I was 15, and nobody cared at all about it until, you know, a couple of years ago. So it's very gratifying. No, I would never in a million years. I was about to went back to school and got my degree. I was about to go be a teacher or something.
Don't do it. I am one. It's like sometimes it can be.
Yeah, but so I mean, I guess I'm not going to, but you know, like, but yeah. So no, I wouldn't have imagined this 5 years ago. Not at all.
I mean, we have to be honest. There are a few strong points and a few, I don't want to say companies, but a few institutions in our globalized music world and music scene that have gotten your back for a few years now. And that certainly, I think, helped push you. On the one hand, we have the Flenser, and on the other hand, we have Roadburn Festival. And how did it feel for you when those two institutions reached out and said, okay, we want to work with you. We want to put out your records. We want to have you on stage here in Tilburg. And now it's already official. You are playing Tilburg again next year, April. How did you feel about those two institutions reaching out for you and your band?
I mean, it's a huge honor. Like I've been making music forever, trying to get anyone to put it out for me instead of me having to self-release my own music. And so even before the Flenser, we had this label called Reptilian that had us, and that was a huge honor. I mean, that made me feel so good to have even that small label put out our EPs. And then the Flenser, I mean, it's been so awesome. I mean, and I love, you know, Mama Leak, Plenty for Burial. There's like so many good bands. And we met all those people, and they're all very cool. Like Tom from Plenty for Burial is such an awesome dude, for instance. So I've met Have a Nice Life, all those people. And I mean, all that music is so awesome. And so it's an honor to be on that label. And then they have treated us very well. And we're friends with all the Jonathan and Brian and everybody that works there and stuff. So that was very gratifying. And then Roadburn, I mean, we were just like, what? We had talked about how we we'd been talking about Roadburn. It's like, wouldn't that be cool if someday we could go, you know? And then it kind of got like, man, I think maybe we have a chance to go, you know? And then I became like, oh shit, seems like we may be getting an offer to go. And then it happened. It was like, wow. So amazing. Yeah. And like you said, we've also had this critic, Anthony Fantano, has long written for us since like the second EP and stuff. So we've been very lucky in those regards of having some key institutions and people and stuff having our back and supporting, like spreading the word about us and stuff early and helping us and whatever. You know, so
now you're at a point where you can reap and harvest what you sow.
yeah, indeed.
What a lot of people, I think, don't notice about Chatpile is that even though it sounds like dudes having just a good time talking about the problems in the world, a lot of people miss the fact, and I also had to clear my mind on that and to really see it. You are a very intelligent band, and at the same time, you also are a very intelligent lyricist, because you very often it seems as if it's a very spontaneous thing that you're doing. But I think there is more thought to it than a lot of people think. I'll give the example of on a new record, you have 2 tracks, tape and camcorder. And I'm very sure that is not an accident or a lucky incident. Those are, for example, those are connecting tracks. They are working together in a way, don't they?
Yeah, they do. That sort of happened organically in the studio, but yeah, like, so it is a little bit of like, we're like, oh, these 2 things fit together, but I did write them at the same time, basically. And yeah, they are about the same thing, essentially, you know, so.
They are basically about producing and consuming violence, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And interestingly, you also talk about stuff like colonialism, or you also sometimes talk about the simply hopelessness of our new world. We've already talked about it. There is some certain ray of sunshine for Chatpile, but you are one of those guys who likes to pinpoint, right? To like, sure, like, okay, we have this problem, we have that problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even at the final track on the album, I was like, oh shit, I haven't written a song about the environment in a while. So that's how that got in there. And yeah, definitely, I kind of have for this album and the album before, definitely had a checklist of topics that I wanted to discuss or cover, you know. And then sometimes, I mean, there's a thought behind it, like, oh well, the average Chatpile fan expects one kind of like rule-based horror story song, you know. So like we'll put that on there, and then we'll put like, you know, something that's more of a philosophical statement, like I Am Dog Now, and then something that's more directly political, like Shame or New World or whatever, you know. So, or Funny Man. So
that list of topics that you've mentioned, is that something that you come up with, or is that something that the band sits down and says like, okay, we should get a statement out on A, B, C, D?
No, it's all I do all the lyrics and all that stuff comes from me. So, which is nice. I mean, I don't tell them how to do their job and they don't tell me how to do mine. We just all trust each other. I think if I say something really radical that they didn't agree with, they may say something to me, but like we're all politically aligned, you know, we're all leftist people. So it's, you know, I'm like I said, we're all older and stuff. So we have a little bit more maturity. I'm not gonna, I mean, not that I'm infallible or anything, but I could fuck up horribly if I was 25. Going too far, too extreme, doing something wrong, you know, like, so I don't know.
Yeah, or talking too much about babes, boobs, and alcohol, right?
Yeah, perhaps. Who knows?
How involved are you yourself then in the songwriting itself?
They come up with all the music. There's maybe once or twice in the band, I'll be like, hey, it'll help me lyrically. I can write a stanza over this if we cut 4 measures here. It'll work better, or like if you cut these 2 measures at the beginning, then what I've written will fit here better and it'll sound great or whatever. But that's very rare. That's happened like 2-3 times maybe that I give them input and stuff. I like I said, we like to let each other, we'll bring our own taste and what we want to hear into the thing and stuff. So typically they just come up with the music and then they give it to me and then I write the vocal melodies and the lyrics and stuff over the top of it. Kind of like I read somewhere that that's how Michael Stipe from REM does it.
Yeah.
So I think about that all the time. REM is like one of my favorite bands. So
all of REM or certain eras?
Well, okay. I mean, you got to take the later stuff with a grain of salt for sure. But I love,
apart from the very last album, that was once again pedal to the floor.
Accelerator. Or wait. Yeah.
No, it was Accelerator.
Yeah. It was Collapse Into Now. Is that the final
one
album?
Of those two, either Accelerator or Collapse. But
I
one
think
of those
Accelerator's,
two was like...
Accelerator's the second to the last one, and that is the one that they're back. They're like whipping ass again. Yeah. I like Up, the first album without Bill Berry, too. But like not Murmur, Reveal and Around the Sun is abysmal. But I love the 80s shit and out of time, all the way up to Monster. Basically, I'm on board completely.
It's interesting. Then, do you know how the guys write the songs? Are they getting together every week, or are they working separately, or how do they do it?
Yeah, I do. A lot of times, Stan, our bass player, will come up with like kind of a main riff or something. And then they'll just kind of jam it out, hammer out the parts they want and figure out what will sound good and stuff. And, Luther Manhole, the guitar player, he'll come in. I mean, Captain Ron and Stan are brothers. And so they've been a rhythm section since they were 12 or, so they just kind of have this like telepathy thing going on, I feel like, so Ron just can read what is needed pretty easily and stuff, like coming up with the beats and stuff like that. But then, sometimes Luther Manhole will come with the riff, the idea and stuff. So I think they both kind of like, I think one of the main, like Luther Manhole based song that he came to the table with his Mask, for instance, and I would say Funny Man is like pure Stan, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
so, it does. Yeah, but I think they both contribute, and whoever has the most ideas gets the most ideas on the record. But everybody writes on the song. Like everybody adds their own signature to whatever. So.
What just struck me is the question, if you are a little out of the loop when it comes to the songwriting, are you then like the first instance of critique? Like, no.
I don't like to do. Even if I don't like something, which is extremely rare, I typically just don't. I just roll with it, And I think that the boys, I can't even really think of an instance where I'm like, I don't know about this, Cool. So, but I think it's important to be courteous and stuff within our band because we're all friends, and that's one of our big rules in the band is we stay friends first, before all this other shit. So, and we all trust each other in our taste in music and stuff. So
that also implies that if any one of you wants to get out, then Chet Pal is done.
Maybe. I mean, yeah.
I mean, like you certainly will not get somebody from Scientology stepping in who supported Danny Masterson.
No. We would never do that. We would definitely hire from within. Like we definitely would. If we needed to, we know plenty of people that play things and stuff. But I can't imagine the band having a different lineup. Maybe I can imagine us adding a guitar player in the future, but I can't really imagine us subtracting or replacing. and stain chat file. So
one thing that I want to make clear for everybody out there, when we're talking about the names like Luther Manhole and Cap'n Ron and also Raygun, those are nicknames, you know. They also, nobody named their child Cap'n Ron. Just to make it clear. Although I've heard about strange names in the States. Anyway. So,
I mean, yeah, there absolutely is somebody named Captain. I guarantee you there's a child named Captain Ron somewhere in the United States. But anyway.
I still remember the father who named his, I think it was, daughter after a German leader of the 1930s. I don't want to say the name.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it only came out when he tried to get a birthday cake.
Oh my goodness.
But coming back to the music, and you also being a little bit of outside of the songwriting itself, would you agree with me that the new record is a little bit more industrial than Noise? It's a little bit more Killing Joke and Ministry than Helmet and Unsane.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that. I mean, Killing Joke, that's one of my favorite bands, period. Have you heard that new High Viz song, Mob DLA?
Yes.
That sounds like Killing Joke reborn to me.
Yeah, and
I'm
if
excited
anybody from
about that
High Viz
album.
is listening to this, call me. I want to do this thing with you as well. So, you know, like.
Hell yeah. And if you're High Viz, I'll see you here on October 22nd. I'm going to your show.
Ooh,
so.
That's a good one. We'll make sure they get to know that. And there is something that struck me, and I think a lot of people will also be amazed when they hear about it, or if they have already heard about it. You chose Ben from Uniform as your producer, which at first glance might be... He mixed it, sorry. But how was that? How did you came up with that idea of choosing Ben Greenberg?
I think that he contacted us and was like, hey, are you looking for somebody to mix your album? And then he did Funny Man on spec for us just to show us what he could do. And we were all like, fuck, that's awesome. And in the past, for God's Country, Stan records it. He's essentially the producer. I mean, I don't think anyone uses that term because we all kind of produce or whatever, but Stan is the one at the board for sure, doing all the work really as far as recording goes. But he mixed it too. And he's not professional, you know, so it's very stressful to have to do all that stuff. Yeah. And so for this album, we were like, let's just get somebody that is a professional mixer that does this kind of stuff to do it. And we're all fans of Uniform. And Ben is a really, really nice guy. And yeah, he approached us and he did a great job on Funny Man. So we just had to mix the whole record. And it was great working with him. And I'd do it again.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind you do it again. That's like definitely not. You have mentioned a lot of bands that you like, you yourself, but also you as a band. Is there like, are there special influences on your band or on your song, not the songwriting, lyric writing?
For me,
yes.
I mentioned Perubu earlier. David Thomas is easily my key inspiration. I love Perubu so much, but I mean, I love music in general for sure. The common bands that we all like in our band are Nirvana, Sonic Youth, and Rage Against the Machine. Those are the three bands that we can all pretty much agree are excellent, that we love, you know. I think maybe
so much my generation.
yeah. I think maybe we all like White Zombie too, but I can't say that for sure. But I think maybe we all like White Zombie as well. But yeah. So
I guess if I asked my friends to give me 5 bands that they like, I guess out of 100, minimum 60 would say Nirvana, Rage Against the Machine, and Sonic Youth.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then I got to ask you that one question, and I'm interested in your point of view. And Rage Against the Machine, a band who came out very anti-capitalist, very anti-consumerism, and then them playing huge tours for expensive tickets. How does a guy like you feel about that?
I don't love it. To be honest, I don't love the final 2 Rage Against the Machine albums that much, you know. The first 2 are unassailable and excellent, you know. But The other two, I mean, there is a whole lot of like your management. I mean, people just get talked into stuff. Sometimes stuff happens. And you don't really realize it's happening until it's too late and it's a bad look or whatever. But I mean, obviously, Fugazi is like a huge influence in terms of like integrity and stuff. I mean, that's the way it should be. And Fugazi hasn't been around for 20 years. So who knows if
and
they
I'm very
back.
sure they ain't going to be around for the next 30.
No, I don't think so either. But so I mean, it's a shame with Rage and stuff, but I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Because that is something where I definitely tip my hat to Sonic Youth, who never been that publicly anti-consumerism, but who've always kept a certain kind of very, very artistic integrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say that is the band out of those three that got older in the best possible way. I'm very, very much looking forward to how you as a band perceive, and I'm not going to ask about any future plans because I know, you know, first this record, then the touring cycle, and then probably next up. But nobody leaves a Veil of Sound interview without having to go through the infamous quickfire round at the end. And because people always say like, oh, you write that before you talk. I once again want to show like people how I did it for this one. Wait, where are we? I'm writing while I talk, you know, and I came up with a few questions for you, Raygun.
Cool.
I'll stick to music related stuff. Dead Kennedys. Which album would you rather listen to, Frankenchrist or Fresh Fruit?
Frankenchrist. I've heard Fresh Fruit too many times. Frankenchrist still feels newer to me for some reason. Yeah.
Okay.
It's more complex too. I like Frankenchrist.
If you had to choose between listening right now to Mission of Burma or Pere Ubu, which one would it be?
Pere Ubu, no question. Although I love Mission of Burma too. But
do you have like a favorite Pere Ubu record?
Yeah, New Picnic Time is probably my favorite album ever, maybe. That's the third record. I love pretty much everything up until Story of My Life, you know? So like all 70s and they get back together. I have all the solo David Thomas albums too. I'm a huge fan.
Husker Du versus the Minutemen.
That's hard, but I'm going to go Husker Du for me personally. I love both bands, but I just love Candy Apple Grey probably more than any Minutemen album. So
for me, it would be Zen Arcade, but still.
Zen Arcade's great. New Day Rising. I love it all. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there is hardly a bad song in that discography.
Yeah, I hear you.
Two bands, of which one is active again and the other, well, in some other form. Jesus Lizard versus Unsane. Like right now, not always. Like which one would you rather listen to right now? Yeah,
probably Jesus Lizard, just because they haven't been around for a while and they're back now. So and Unsane, I might like both bands honestly, but probably Jesus Lizard have the edge for me.
Do you also like the other bands connected to it, like Scratch Acid on the Jesus side, or Human Impact on the Unsane side?
I'm not familiar with Human Impact, but I actually like Scratch Acid more than the Jesus Lizard. So yeah.
Okay.
I love that Greatest Gift, the full discography CD that was available. You know, that was a heavy rotation for me as a teenager. So yeah.
You are maybe on the classic indie. We don't give a fuck about genre labels at the moment. With the Flenser, shout out to them building a roster and a discography. In the 80s, you probably would have been on one of the following two labels: Amphtamine Reptile or Touch and Go. Which one would you rather have been on?
Touch and Go. The label that we covet the most is Homestead. Although they ripped off their artists and stuff. Me and Stin are huge Homestead fans, but Touch and Go for sure over and Reptile.
REM I'll give you two of the earlier records. Murmur versus Document.
Document. I love Murmur, but Finest Work Song is one of my favorite songs of all time. Track 1 on Document. And I just, Document is tops for me. I love that album.
Yeah, and I think Document is able to keep that razor blade thin line between great hits and still a wonderful record. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
And I mean, like, if your song is mentioned or parodied on The Simpsons,
yeah, totally.
Would that be a goal for you? Jack Pyle on The Simpsons.
The Simpsons hasn't been super good to me for like a while.
Yeah,
but the first 10 years of The Simpsons is the best television ever made, in my opinion. So yeah, it'd be a huge honor in any era to me on The Simpsons for sure. If they mentioned us or had us voice or anything, I would do it in a heartbeat. So absolutely.
I know your friends, or I know you know some guys in Ken mode because I've seen you talk at Roadburn. And I'll give you the choice of Voit versus Null. Which of the two last records would you prefer?
I think I like Null better, but they're both great. I mean, they're a great band. I would love to see them again. We got to play with them here at Oklahoma City. They came through and we just opened for them. And man, that was such a good show. They had just added, they had this person playing saxophone and stuff, and it was incredible. So
let me see. I got one more music related question. Fugazi. Repeater or In on the Caretaker?
Ooh, Repeater, no question for me. I think Repeater is one of the best rock albums ever made. There's not a wasted moment on that album. However, In the Caretaker is maybe my second favorite Fugazi album. I don't know. I also really love End Hits too, but Repeater is unassailable. It's the best to me. It's a huge inspiration for me when it comes to songwriting and stuff. And I love Guy's voice. I love both their voices. I mean, they're great. So yeah.
Would it, if I, like, for example, had given you like something like Rites of Spring or Minor Threat to go against Fugazi, would that be more complicated for you? Or would it still always be Fugazi?
It'd be Fugazi, but if you put Minor Threat versus Rites of Spring, I would take Rites of Spring, probably. I like Pachotto a little bit more than Mackay. But then again, no, I don't know, because what Mackay does, all of Mackay's songs on Repeater are my favorite. So like Shut the Door is my favorite song. That's a Mackay song. And Repeater itself, so I don't know, it's hard to say. But I like C-Fisted Fine. I mean, it's just perfect. I love everything on that record. It's a great record. So
3 last questions. You said,
yes,
like, okay, people from Oklahoma often think about moving. If you had to move to one of the other cities in the States, I'll give you Chicago versus Seattle. Which one would you choose?
Chicago, for sure. It's still like Midwest. It's a little more relatable than Seattle, although Seattle's beautiful. And to Seattle's credit, I have not explored it as much as Chicago. I have a lot of family up in Illinois, so I've been to Chicago plenty of times. It just would logistically make a lot more sense for me to live in Chicago. Yeah. And I love the city too. And I have friends up there too. I would move to Chicago in a heartbeat.
Yeah, as long as you don't say that you love the Bears, everything is fine with me.
Fair enough.
Movies. And I don't know how I came to that question, but Batman. There are like 3 Batmans that we could talk about, and I'll give you all 3 actors, and you choose which one's Batman do you like more. Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, or Robert Pattinson?
I didn't see the Robert Pattinson one, so I've got to discount him.
Okay, so we have Bale and Keaton.
I know since I'm 40, I'm supposed to say Keaton, but I think I like Bale more, honestly. I like.
Me too, definitely.
Okay, good. Definitely. I like,
and I also don't know why.
When Bale's being Bruce Wayne and he's like being a huge asshole, and he has those models with him, and they're getting into the fountain, I was like, this is like one of the best Bruce Wayne moments ever. You know, I was like, this is what Bruce Wayne should be like.
Yeah.
So you don't think that he's Batman. I mean, his voice is a little crazy when he is Batman, but I don't mind it. You know, he's like, I'm not wearing hockey pants or whatever. Like he does that crazy voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like him. I like them both, though. I mean, I definitely, Batman with Michael Keaton came out when I was 5, and my mom took me to see that one and Returns. I loved them both. So, and I loved Kilmer when I was a kid too. That movie does not hold up at all, but I thought Val Kilmer was great when I was a kid. So,
Kilmer was the one who had Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, wasn't he?
No, that's Clooney in Batman and Robin. Clooney. Val Kilmer is going against Two-Face and Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Yeah. Haven't watched that one in ages. And last one, and that is because of your shirt. You're wearing a Missed Out Fire shirt, so I'll give you 2 Robin Williams movies.
Okay.
Good Morning Vietnam versus Hook.
Ooh, both movies were important to me as a child. I have not seen either in 20 plus years, but I think about Hook way more than I think about Good Morning Vietnam, I think. So I don't know if it's a better movie necessarily, but I like Hook. Hook was just so important to me. I played with swords. I had the game, the Nintendo game, and so I was just so into Hook for whatever reason. So
would that be your favorite Robin Williams movie?
No, not at all. I would say.
Which one would it be?
World According to Garp maybe would be my favorite Robin Williams movie. I love that. I love John Irving. Like I love the novel and stuff, but that's a really good George Roy Hill. It's a good adaptation of a 600-page novel, you know. I'm trying to think. Dead Poet Society is a little sappy, but I love that movie too. I think he's great in that movie, you know. So
he is even good in Good Will Hunting. I mean, like,
oh yeah, for sure. And that's another one that's like a little bit, you know, syrupy, but it's a good movie. I mean, he's good in the movie, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah. So
you've mentioned John Irving, and I wanted to end with Robin Williams, but as you've mentioned John Irving, Garp or Hotel New Hampshire?
Hotel New Hampshire, for sure. My first band was called State of Maine, named after the bear in the first chapter.
After the bear.
Yeah, so I was really into John Irving in high school and early college and stuff. And Hotel New Hampshire was my favorite for sure. I love that. That's a great novel for sure.
Also interesting. Not a great.
The movie is bad, but yeah.
but most adaptations of his books are bad because the books are difficult to put into movies. I like the way he writes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what he writes first?
No.
The last sentence of a book.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
He says, like, I have to have a goal at which I'm writing to.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. No, he's great. I love authors that are like Dickensian, you know, that get into the history of every character. You learn so much about everybody that's involved in the story. It's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and he does something that I like is like he gives a lot of information in a very laconic voice, and he's never destroying your reading experience while he gives you that offside information. That's that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's awesome. It's like Stephen King, but not horror at all. You know,
with King, I have one problem, and I think that King is the one who is best at writing the first 50% of a book. But he's very often so bad at finishing the book. I mean,
I'm with you.
Think of it. He builds it up like, and then it's a fucking, what is it? A spider? I mean, like.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that. I don't mind the spider. I love when they entangle tongues or whatever, and he slaps Bill's consciousness or his soul across the universe, and he's flying out there towards the deadlights, and he meets the turtle god. Like God is a turtle. I personally, at that point in the novel, I'm like, King, you've earned this, man. It's like, let's go. But I'm totally on board. Like Bag of Bones, that's like the first half of it's like great, and then it's like, what the fuck? Like some of his novels, they're too long to go off the rails the way that they do, you know?
Exactly. That's the way. Why I always say, one of my favorite King things ever is this collection of 4 short books, where you have like the body and
different seasons. That's one of the
different
best
seasons.
ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's cool because it's the longest story in there is what 200 pages, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's concise. He's to the point.
I agree. I think that's one of his best books. At Pupil is amazing. Like that's such a disturbing story.
The Pupil. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's only one out of those 4 stories that has not been turned into a movie.
I know, the breathing method.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of hard to turn into a movie. It's kind of short.
Nowadays. So, very welcome everybody here to the Chat Pile Loves Veil of Sound Reading Book Club of the Month. So, Raygun, thanks for all the insight. Thanks for the lovely chat. And we're very, very happy to have done this. And I'm already looking forward to see you in Tilbrook next year. And now for you, your chance for final last words.
Hope everyone's doing well. The world's crazy. Be excellent to each other. You know,
listen to each other and support each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Raygun, thank you for the talk.
Thank you. Appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun.
It has. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.